A great book can make your day, whereas an awful text can turn your reading time more awful. Unfortunately, no book ever comes with a warning. Hey, I am a lousy text. Do not read me. Sometimes you wish someone or something could have saved you from that torture. This video is for rescuing you from such unpleasant experiences. Every year, dozens of books come out and become instant hits. They become insignificant equally fast. Ironically, you realize they are not worth your time after reading them. But some books go beyond the restriction of time and become timeless masterpieces. These are written by the best of creative minds, so what they have inside is nothing short of amazing. From their themes to plots to characters to sentiments, everything inspires the readers. They set the bar really high for modern fiction and nonfiction. So I made this video to include 10 of the most popular books that you need to read before you lose your reading ability. I picked books from multiple genres so that most of you can find a book worth your time and money. The next few minutes will save you all from wasting time on average texts. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to never miss an update. Links to the books are given in the description below. Number 10. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. She was an American writer who got famous overnight after the publishing of her novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. Harper Lee has a deep understanding of how human behavior and conscience make or break a person's life. To Kill a Mockingbird discusses the injustices of racism in the Deep South during the 20th century. We get to see the horrors of racism from the innocent eyes of Jean Louise Finch. Her father, Atticus Finch, is a just and sympathetic lawyer who fights the case of a black man in court. It's a story of hatred, love, hypocrisy, innocence, and prejudice in a society where racial superiority was a norm. Although the tone is somber throughout the book, Lee's touches of humor make it not overly gloomy. The book has won Pulitzer Prize and its film adaptation also won an Academy Award. So I request you to not deprive yourself of such a timeless classic piece of literature. Number 9. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. She is the queen of creativity and imagination. The way she develops the plot and her characters and connects the dots makes you want to reread her books again and again. The Harry Potter series made her famous worldwide. There's hardly anyone who wouldn't have heard about the legendary Harry Potter while growing up. If you're a fan of fantasy and mystery and fiction and still haven't read Rowling's Harry Potter series, sorry to say, but you haven't lived. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is the first part of a 7-book series. It's a tale about a boy named Harry Potter who survived dark magic. He is summoned to a school of magic, where he makes 2 best friends, Ron and Hermione. The world of magic in the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Magic seems so real that you also wish for someone like Hagrid to show up at your doorstep to take you to that particular school. You really need to meet Professor Dumbledore, Professor Snape, Hagrid, and all the other characters living in Hogwarts at least once in your life. So, change your status and read the entire series soon. Number 8. 1984 by George Orwell. His original name was Eric Arthur Blair, and he was an English writer and journalist. His writings are known for containing an in-depth understanding of human intelligence and wit. 1984 is a masterpiece of George Orwell, which shows his hatred for totalitarianism and support for democratic socialism. Literary critics call it the most brilliant creation of Orwell. The story takes place in London at the time when slums of urban residential areas were known as Victory Mansions. It's a dystopian world with no place for love and free will. You see this world of fear and control from the eyes of Winston Smith. He works at the Ministry of Truth. There he meets 2 people, Julia and O'Brien. One betrays him and the other is betrayed by him. How? Well, you don't want to find out. The drama, suspense, and emotions make for a remarkable read. Number 7. 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He was a Colombian novelist, short story writer, journalist, and screenwriter of the 20th century. Gabriel Garcia Marquez was known as Gabo in Colombia. The guy is also a Nobel winner in literature. 100 Years of Solitude tells the story of 7 generations of the Wundia family. The book gives you accounts of how the family established the Mocando town and what brought its destruction. What sucks the readers in is the way Garcia shows how commonplace things are extraordinary and mystical things are ordinary. It shows you how much power myths and folktales have over Latin American culture. It's one of those books whose name makes you hesitate whether to invest your time in or not. But once you decide to give it a try, it automatically carves a place in your favorite books of all time. Now you're intrigued, right? So, who's stopping you? Get your copy and start this classic piece of magical realism. Number 6. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Oh, this one has an interesting backstory. But first, let's meet Mr. Fitzgerald. He was an American novelist and short story writer. Rumors have it that he coined the term Jazz Age. His works show how corrupt the said Jazz Age was. Backstory time now. I watched the movie adaptation first on a weekend movie night with friends, so I already had gone through the swooning and tear-shedding phases and sworn not to look at it again. A couple of months later, I had to critically analyze its text for my literature assignment. Yep, talk about the irony of life. The story is told from Nick Carraway's mouth. He becomes friends with a mysterious man, Che Gatsby. The more he spends time with this eccentric rich man, the more he realizes that Mr. Gatsby is not what the world perceives him to be. The heartbreak of the Great Gatsby by a certain beauty and his sorrowful demise touch your sentiments. I would request you to read this book to get a peek into the 1920s Jazz Age in the United States. Number 5. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. She was a romantic English novelist who created 6 masterpieces of fiction. Her works comment on the vanities of the British landed gentry living between the 1800s and 1900s. Even after more than 2 centuries, her books are still popular among readers. Pride and Prejudice is regarded as one of the most read and liked literary pieces of romantic fiction. It's a story of a highly opinionated middle-class girl, Elizabeth Bennet, and an uptight aristocrat, Fitzwilliam Darcy. Their banter and subtle flirtations make it a pleasant read. Despite the snobbish attitude of Mr. Darcy in the beginning, you cannot help falling in love with him. The pride of one and the prejudices of the other make their courtship full of drama, intrigue, and humor. If you are a fierce lover of romantic fiction, you need to read this timeless classic. Number 4. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. He is one of the most popular and liked authors of Australian origin. 5 of his books received multiple accolades and literary awards. One of them is The Book Thief, which has remained on the bestseller list of New York Times for over a decade. The setting of the book is Germany in 1939. Leslie's life as a book thief begins when she finds a book titled The Gravedigger's Handbook by her brother's grave. This starts the journey of her love with the literary world. Her love for books grows to such a level that she steals a book from the mayor's wife's library too. She would search any place where there's a slight chance of finding books, regardless of the risks. Germany at that time is under the stifling rule of masses. Yet, her foster family hides a Jewish fighter in their house's basement. Your heart melts when you read about the affectionate bond between Leslie and that Jew. It is a tale of courage and friendship in dangerous times. Number 3. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. He belonged to the aristocratic class of Russia and was a prominent literary figure in Russian literature. He became a famous author worldwide after his works War and Peace and Anna Karenina came out. I discussed this second name during my video about the best most hardest books to read as well. Despite being a little challenging to read, such a masterpiece should not be brushed aside. This 8-part bulky text tells the story of 2 lead characters, Anna and Konstantin Levin. The plot is spicy and juicy. Oh, I mean it revolves around adultery, marriage, gambling, and Russian feudalism. Anna is a disillusioned housewife of the sophisticated class who abandons her married life and runs off with her lover. Konstantin is a landowner struggling between his faith and philosophy of life. The tragic consequences of Anna's actions break your heart and at the same time make her carve a place in your memory for life. Number 2. A Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. Anyone interested in popular historical and political movements may already know about Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. He was a former South African president at the forefront of the struggle against racial oppression and apartheid rule in South Africa. A Long Walk to Freedom is an autobiography of Mr. Mandela. The book begins with the childhood years of Mandela and takes you on a long tour of his political and family life. It's interesting to see how a boy belonging to poverty grows to become such an influential leader and activist. He was a beacon of hope for oppressed classes of the South African nation, and his feat to turn the country into a multiracial democracy proves so. He was an inspirational leader whose long walk to freedom from the injustices of apartheid will leave you in awe. I recommend it to all readers who love autobiographies and memoirs. Number 1. The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Before we jump to our number 1 book, let's just have a few words about Anneliese Marie Frank. She was a Jewish girl born in Germany. She was the girl who lived in Holocaust and recorded her life in a diary during that time. The Diary of a Young Girl contains raw details of the horrors of the Holocaust by the Nazis during their occupation of the Netherlands. A young girl hid in the attic of her father's office with her 4 family members to escape Nazi soldiers. She vividly describes the war crimes and her experiences of those dark times. She was struggling with hunger, boredom, and fear for her life in a confined space. Despite such bleak circumstances, she still believed the world was a beautiful place to live and people were good by heart. This influential biography will touch your soul. So, read it the first chance you get. So this was my list of the best popular books for people who need great books for reading like we need air to breathe. They are called best and popular for a reason. I saved you from the most difficult question any voracious reader faces. What book should I pick next? Start reading now and thank me later. This video helped you find the next book you are going to read, then like and share this video. Let me know in comment section on what type of books I should cover in my next video. Also, if you read one of the book mentioned in this video, share your review or thoughts with us. Subscribe this channel for more such awesome videos. Thanks for watching.